My name is Brian Hamm. I'm the current vice chair of the Canadian Energy Executive Association, along with my wife, Deanna. We got involved in CEEA a number of years ago to try to, one, build a stronger network within the industry, but also to try and advocate for our industry broader across Canada. If we go way back to my original involvement with CEEA and the prior organization was really based out of legacy. The firm that I'm working with has been involved with this organization for 60 odd years. And so it was kind of a rite of passage that the next head of the firm tends to go and attend these events. And over my 10 odd years of involvement in the organization now, I've seen huge growth and huge change from what was predominantly a networking organization now then became an industry advocacy organization. And then more recently, we've expanded it into giving back to the community in various forms, financially and through volunteership. At CEEA, for the last number of years, it was always kind of the chair's prerogative to choose a charity that they wanted to support that year, and it was great. We've raised over $1 million supporting local charities through that format. This year, under Brent and Allison Quinton's guidance, we started the CEEA Education Fund. The CEEA Education Fund was started as a branded scholarship fund administered by CEEA to kind of support and raise money for two things. One of those things is the CEEA Energy Award, which is a 3-year, $30,000 scholarship for various students, but primarily focused at engineering and geology and geophysics, and trying to encourage them to choose programs that might lead them into the energy industry and specifically into petroleum. We think it's a very important industry, and we think it's going to be around long after we retire. And as leaders in the industry, we recognize we need fresh blood coming into the industry. And so that's half of the scholarship. And the other half of the scholarship is the CEEA Indigenous Award. And that's very similar, except it's targeted directly to Indigenous students that are looking to go to really any post-secondary education. And I think it's a misconception that school is always free for Indigenous or that this is that. And there's a lot of other costs to going to university. And it's not just about cost, it's also about support. And so we want to be there to try and encourage that next generation of Indigenous students to pursue their goals, go to post-secondary education, and if possible, get involved in the industry and come work for some of these companies and see what it's all about. So next year, along with my wife, Deanna, we'll be taking over as chairs of CEEA 73. And so similar to what Quinton's did last year and the majors the year prior, we're looking to just continue pushing forward our advocacy efforts and our education fund efforts and our charity raising. And so we'll be hosting a number of events similar to the prior years, and then we'll follow that up with our charity ball in March, where we'll be raising money both for the CEEA Education Fund as well as Make-A-Wish Canada. A couple other events throughout the year, but really all building up towards the big event out in Banff, where we'll have our one-day business EBF and followed by our kind of relatively world-famous CEEA networking event, including the 73rd iteration of the CEEA Golf Tournament. We've got some board members at CEEA, at Canadian Energy Executive Association, that are involved in these things, with like Stephen Bothwell being one of them. We're all for encouraging equity ownership in project. I think Indigenous people have said it numerous times. They're not here for a handout and they're not here for a royalty necessarily. They want to be actual equity holders in these partnerships and these JVs. I think it's a great model. I mean, the few that have happened so far so good, right? It's not without some government support though, right? I mean, obviously these loan guarantees are a huge component of making these things go around, but certainly something that at CEEA we're more than happy to continue to try and support. And it's really been a focus of ours the last, 6, 7, 8 years to try to engage with more Indigenous business leaders and get them to attend our events and show up. And a lot of these partnerships can grow out of those things. So certainly great partnerships. If we get more of those, we'll have less problems for sure. 3 things to do in Calgary. I mean, what I like about it is it's an actual city. It's not a huge city, it's not Toronto or New York, but it is a city. It has a downtown core, and the downtown core has a certain persona, and then there's the surrounding areas and the suburbs, and it's a really beautiful city. I mean, we look out the window and we can see the Rocky Mountains pretty much all day, every day, and they're only 45 minutes away. And so it's just a great place to raise a family and to build a business and operate under a provincial jurisdiction that is friendly to business. My family, we all grew up skiing. My kids are all ski racers. My wife grew up skiing in Europe, and we go to Fernie, British Columbia, which is just a 3-hour drive from Calgary, and that's where we spend our weekends, skiing pretty much every weekend.